everybody, I'm Jackie. We're going to start with the very standard, yes, it switched, fantastic, very large picture of my face. For those of you I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting, I'm Jackie. I'm the Director of Digital Strategy here at Sitecore, currently obsessed with Project Hail Mary and the Shy Girl AI publishing scandal. So if anybody wants to talk about one of those things or about how you become a Sitecore strategy MVP, which is actually part of my job, I guess, then please come find me later. For those of you who've been in the room for a minute, you know that with 15-minute lightning sessions, we do not have time for a Q&A. So if you have any questions, that is also something you can come find. Oh, sorry, guys. We started the party without you, and now it's awkward because I've called you out. It's okay. You're always welcome. We're going to embrace the fact that you showed up at all. Thanks for coming out. All right, let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about intelligent content. So this idea has been around since roughly 2011. I could not tell you if that's just when it showed up on the internet or if that's when somebody actually thought of it. But 2011, roughly. The thing about intelligent content is we've been talking about it since 2011. We've been chasing it as a goal for over a decade. And I think Forrester put together a really interesting blog post, and that's where I got this quote from, where they're talking about, oh my gosh, Tomasz Varga himself is here. I've never been more honored in my life. Welcome. Forrester put together a really interesting blog post. I actually ended up, did anybody here ever diagram a sentence in school? That was, yep. So I ended up, there were two paragraphs right at the beginning of their blog post that I ended up almost diagramming on my screen in PowerPoint. But I thought that this was the most salient point of their blog post, which is that what we're facing now is a shift from creating more content to creating smarter content. So that's going to be the main thing that I want to talk about today. How do we create content that is better? Because I got to tell you folks, we're falling off the horse a little bit. So all of these stats are from the HubSpot State of Marketing in 2026, and I'll throw all of these links up on my LinkedIn. If you're not following me, you should be. I'll put all of them on my LinkedIn later so that you can find them for easy access. I thought this was really interesting, the way that these stats all fit together, because 80% of the marketers surveyed say, yep, absolutely 100%, I use AI for content creation. It saves me a lot of time. But 61% of that same portion of marketers say, what's critical now is having a critical point of view, a critical tone of voice, and understanding what makes something good versus what makes something not good. And then the same percentage roughly of marketers will say, and what I need is more unique and more human-centered content in order to make my campaigns and my efforts land effectively. AI is good at a lot of things, but it's not good at making an emotional connection. It's not good at building trust with your audience. There are things that, at least for now, human beings still have a monopoly on. And I don't want to make anybody feel bad because I use AI as well. I don't think AI is making us lazy. I think it's making us careless. I think it is allowing us to move so quickly that we have stopped asking, is this good or is it just done? Because those are different things. The marketers who were surveyed in this study thought the same thing, because more than half of them said AI makes content so easy to create that it's no longer effective in the way that it used to be. And I can see where they're coming from, because if your AI feed looks anything like mine, what we're seeing is the beigeification of the written word. I'm looking around, everybody here seems like they're probably over the age of 20, so I think everybody's gone apartment hunting. Has anybody not gone flat hunting or looked for a house? Literally no one, fantastic. So you know when you walk in to an empty flat to view it or an empty house that you're considering buying, it is covered in neutrals. The walls are neutral, the carpet is neutral, the staging is neutral. They do that on purpose. They do it because they want you to be able to project your own view onto the house, onto the flat. They want you to be able to see yourself living there. The problem is, it's designed to slide right out of your mind the minute you're done. The minute you walk out of, I remember looking for my first apartment in LA and being asked after the second day of flat hunting, Well, which one did you like the best? Swear to God, I couldn't remember what any of them looked like. They all looked the same, roughly the same layout, same colors on the walls, by design. And that's what's happening with written content and AI, because it is functionally the median of all the things that it's been trained on. These are smoothed edges. It's a rounded experience. It is as interesting as you make it, or as flat as you allow it to be. Now, what's psychologically really interesting, I don't know, did anybody take the New York Times Who's a Better Writer, AI or a Human quiz? Just me then, only one nerd in this room, fantastic. So I took it. I have some qualms, I have some quibbles. They weren't trying to create a methodological study, so I'll give them that. But what was interesting, they did get 86,000 people to take it. And 54% of those people preferred at least one of the AI samples to the human written sample. Now, I will say they did pick Cormac McCarthy for one of their samples. Cormac McCarthy has a very specific style that really does need to be experienced in the aggregate, but we'll just leave that to the side. What I thought was even more interesting was the reaction that people had when they realized that they had picked the AI sample. Because psychologically, when people find out that something they've experienced is AI, generated by AI, they don't like it as much anymore. They don't trust it. Now they're skeptical. Trust is hard to earn and incredibly easy to lose, and we are giving it away by not taking care with what we put out into the world, by not thinking about not how can AI make this easier, but how can AI make this better? Are there opportunities for me to use AI in a way that is helpful both for me and my end user, and not just something that helps me get stuff out the door as quickly as possible so that I can move on to the next thing? So what can AI help you with? Because AI can be incredibly helpful. These are a couple of my suggestions. These are things that we're doing at Sitecore. I lead not only the digital strategy team, but also the content team. One of the things we've done is we've created a brand voice agent, which was trained on our brand character, our brand voice, and our style guidelines. Style guidelines are critical because one of the things we don't do at Sitecore is we don't use title case. Title case is where in a sentence, every word is capitalized. We use sentence case, which is like this, where the capital letter is at the beginning of the sentence, and then anything that stands for point of view or AI, that is also capitalized. The amount of time that my team was spending getting rid of ChatGPT's capital letters was incredible. ChatGPT also, as I'm sure all of you know, loves an em dash. I also love Mary Shelley's em dash, but there's nothing wrong with a semicolon. There's nothing wrong with a comma. What the brand voice agent does is it takes all of that down to what we consider to be an allowable amount. It's one per paragraph, in case you were curious. Everybody gets one em dash per 2 paragraphs. That has saved us a lot of time. We're also using it to evaluate, this is especially valuable for the associates on my team. We have these pretty intense prompts that we've stress tested. Evaluate this asset for me. I'm trying to reach the CEO of a healthcare organization. I want all of these points to land as quickly as possible. Tell me what's wrong. Tell me where I can improve my asset. That's very helpful. And we are also, I think a lot of you were in the room for Vasilia's presentation. You stuck around for mine, which I very much appreciate. Schema markup takes a billion years. It is very manual. It's a very manual process. And like many websites, ours is kind of a poltergeist website. It's built on the remains of websites past. A lot of our content goes back ages before we knew that JSON LD was going to be important. So a lot of that schema markup hasn't necessarily been done on our older content. We're working with Mo Sharif to build us an agent to generate that schema markup so that we can more quickly port it over onto the website. AI can help you prevent narrative drift. It can help you build out the kind of personalized content, contact with content that we've been chasing for over a decade. What it can't do and shouldn't do is replace things like storytelling. It shouldn't replace what makes your brand yours. It shouldn't replace what makes your brand valuable. We do have a very exciting piece of thought leadership coming up in the next couple of months, all about digital authenticity. And I wanted to give you a little bit of a sneak peek into what we learned as part of this. This is also a very like left to right slide because I thought it was very interesting. 65% of those that we surveyed say that undisclosed AI damages their trust in a brand. And 51% say that the human touch in digital has gotten worse in the last 2 years. I would largely agree with that. When I log on to find out how, like, when a store's hours are, that's great. That's an easy thing that you can automate. If what I need is help understanding why I've been overcharged on my gas bill and I hit a chat bot that just keeps circling me back to, I don't understand your question. I'm not sure how to help you with this. There are no people available. You're stuck with me. I think that's what people are getting frustrated with. And I think that's very legitimate. But 80% agreed that when AI is used responsible, it is both useful and beneficial. So that's our job in the next couple of years, in the next 6 months. How can we make it useful and beneficial? And how can we be honest about it? Because I don't think people mind AI. I think they mind being lied to. I think they mind being tricked. I think they mind having to fight against what was supposed to be a frictionless experience that we have now added a ton of friction into because they can't find the answer that they want. And I think what people are going to start looking for, the brands that are going to succeed, are the brands that are looking for how can I be, where's my unique storytelling point? How can I convey this uniquely, strongly, interestingly? How can I connect with my audience? Where you use AI responsibly and ethically and transparently is going to make a big difference in how your brand is perceived in the next few years. So, where to focus? Because I'm almost out of time. Oh, so close. So, focus on quality and human thought, number 1. Number 2, understand your user needs and focus on solving their problems. And write for people. Format for machines, but write for people. Scott Luer, you heard him yesterday. He and I have a lot of conversations about human to AI to human, how that flows now. So how you can create something, AI can help you make it better, but you create it and specifically format it for the human who's going to read it at the end. What I find most interesting about this slide is I got this almost verbatim from a presentation I did in 2019. The tools have changed. The goals have not. I did it in 15 minutes. Thank you so much.